Hello everybody, I think this is working. Hello everybody out there in Churchfield land. It's Mrs. May. We miss you lots, and the teachers in the enrichment team and myself wanted to read you a story just to give you something to listen to and look at, and hopefully you remember who we all are. So the story we're going to read is The Smartest Giant in Town, which I think lots of you will already know. So I'm going to read a page, and then the other teachers, we're going to try and put this together so we've got a film of everybody reading a bit to you. I hope it works out, and I hope you enjoy it. So, The Smartest Giant in Town. There's the photo, there's the picture. George was a giant, the scruffiest giant in town. He always wore the same pair of old brown sandals and the same old patched up gown. "I wish I wasn't the scruffiest giant in town," he said sadly.
But one day, George noticed a new shop. It was full of smart clothes, so he bought a smart shirt, a smart pair of trousers. He bought a smart belt, a smart red tie, some smart socks with diamonds down the side, and a pair of smart shiny shoes. "Now I'm the smartest giant in town," he said proudly. George left his old clothes behind in the shop. He was about to go home when he heard a sound. On the pavement stood a giraffe who was sniffing sadly. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's my neck," said the giraffe. "It's so very long and so very cold, and I wish I had a long, warm scarf."
"Cheer up," said George, and he took off his stripy tie. "It didn't match my socks anyway," he said, as he wound it round and round the giraffe's neck. "It made a wonderful scarf." "Thank you," said the giraffe. As George strode towards home, he sang to himself, "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. But look me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town." George came to a river. On a boat stood a goat, who was bleating loudly. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's my sail," said the goat. "It blew away in a storm. I wish I had a strong new sail for my boat."
Said George, and he took off his new white shirt. "It kept coming untucked anyway," he said, as he tied it to the mast of the goat's boat. "It made a magnificent sail." "Thank you," said the goat. George strode on, singing to himself, "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. But look at me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town." George came to a tiny ruined house. Beside the house stood a white mouse with lots of baby mice. They were all squeaking. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's our house," squeaked the mother mouse. "It burnt down and now we haven't anywhere to live. I wish we had a nice new house."
"Cheer up," said George, and he took off one of his shiny shoes. "It was giving me blisters anyway," he said, as the mouse and her baby scrambled inside. The shoe made a perfect home for them. "Thank you," they squeaked. George had to hop along the road now, but he didn't mind. As he hopped, he sang to himself, My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. But look me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town. George came to a campsite. Beside a tent stood a fox who was crying. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's my sleeping bag," said the fox. "I dropped it in a puddle. I wish I had a warm, dry sleeping bag."
"Cheer up," said George, and he took off one of his socks with diamonds up the sides. "It was tickling my toe anyway," he said, as the fox snuggled into it. "It made a very fine sleeping bag." "Thank you," said the fox. George hopped on, singing to himself, "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of my socks is a bed for a fox. But look at me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town." George came to a big screechy bog. Beside the bog stood a dog who was howling. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's this bog," said the dog. "I need to get across, but I keep getting stuck in the mud. I wish there was a safe, dry path."
"Cheer up," said George, and he took off his smart new belt. "It was squashing my tummy anyway," he said as he laid it down over the bog. "It made an excellent path." "Thank you," said the dog. The wind started to blow, but the George didn't mind. He hopped on, singing to himself. "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of my socks is a bed for a fox. My belt helped a dog who was crossing a bog, but..." "My trousers are falling down. I'm the coolest giant in a town." Suddenly George felt sad and shivery, and not at all small. He stood on a foot and thought, I will have to go back to the shop and buy some more clothes," he decided. He turned around and hopped all the way back to the shop.
But when George got there, it was closed. "Oh no," cried George. He sank down to the doorstep and the tears ran down his nose. He felt as sad as all the other animals he had met on his way home. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw a big bag with something familiar poking out of the top. George took a closer look. "My gown!" he yelled. "My dear old gown and sandals!" George put them on. They felt wonderfully comfortable. "I'm the cosiest giant in town," he cried, and danced back home along the road. Outside his front door stood all the animals he had helped. They were carrying an enormous present. "Come on, George," they said. "Open it." George untied the ribbon. Inside was a beautiful paper crown and a card. "Look inside the card, George," said the animals. George put the crown on his head and opened the card. Inside it said, "Your tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. Your shirt is a boat as a sail for a goat. Your shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of your socks is a bed for a fox. Your belt helped a dog who was crossing the bog. So here is a very fine crown to go with the sandals and gown of the kindest giant in town." Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that as much as we enjoyed making it. If you did, please email your teachers and tell them you enjoyed it, and then they will forward your emails on to all of us. And if you've got another book you'd like us to read next week, send us your suggestions and we'll see what we can do. Stay safe, everybody, and we'll really, really miss you. Bye.